So what we've got so far is we've covered the idea of wedging. So it might be as he's attacking in here, this is a wedge. It might be as he attacks in here, this is a wedge if we're going in for a clinch. It might be even this is a wedge. It might be this is a wedge, this is a wedge. So you can see the idea of having that attacking mindset and being able to wedge straight in. Doesn't matter what he throws. If he comes in with a kick, you know, this is a wedge moving in through here. If you think of blocking with the leg, you'll end up doing this, leaving him strong and you weak. But if all the time he comes in, think of it as a wedge so that you move in. This is a wedge, this is a wedge. You know, this is a wedge coming through here. This is a wedge coming through here. So you get the idea, it's a principle. And it lays in your mind as an idea, not as a definitive thought. And it's contained within everything you do. Then from the wedge, you know, from this point here, as you're wedging in, we've got the idea of spiraling. So whether you're throwing, whether you move in to throw this way, you can see it's all turning, spiraling, but always it's combined with the wedge, locking. So if I try to throw this way here, I'm not in a wedge position. He's stronger than me. If I want to throw him, I need to be here, so my body weight will come in through behind the arm. With that wedge, I'm always using the spiraling movement to bring the wedge in. So you can see the way that we're using it from the feet, through the body. You've got this idea of the way all the muscles are in the body, the power he's got from the spiral. But also the spiral destroys him. So the turning and the spiraling is the thing we're always using to break the traction of his feet on the floor, to break the postural alignment of the body. Now I want to come to trapping. So when we trap, we're using still the wedge and the spiral, hunter's mindset, breathing from the stomach, so we're not breathing from the chest. If you start to breathe from the chest, you're lifting the rib cage, and that breaks the internal connection to the feet. And when you start to chest breathe, it becomes, your mind goes from fight to flight. So the moment you see your opponent start going, you know his emotions have started to change. You can't hunt if you're chest breathing. You're more like the prey that's trying to get away. So you need to keep your breath down here in the stomach. You need to keep the solar plexus connected to the center of the body. So this presses down into the feet. This keeps your emotional state stable. When you raise the back, you're making the back open and the chest concave. When you lift the ribs, it brings the arms out, so you can't make a wedge. You can't connect the arms to the body. So the chest has got to be sunken, concave, down, breathing from the stomach. The back has got to be open and raised, and this means that when you've got your hands out in front of you, always they're going to be strong. So you can use the wedge and you can use the spiral that way. Now we want to trap. So having come in, we've used the wedge. So in my mind, I've hit him. We use the spiral, so we start turning him. But now to trap, what we want to be able to do is to trap his arm against my forearm here. So to trap, you don't grab. What you do when you trap is you do this movement. The elbow comes in and at the wrist here. This is a trap. So at the same time, you sink the chest, sit into your feet, elbow comes in. So his arm, when it travels forwards, we'll use this arm. When it travels forwards, it's travelling in a straight line here. What I'm not doing is pushing his arm away. So I use the term suck, don't blow. Yeah? Suck in, don't blow it away. So if you try to trap and you push, all you're going to do from there, he'd just spin and hit. Or if it was this way, I'd bring on the other arm. You know, so they say if a tiger comes to your village, don't feed it. You know, so the idea is don't give him energy, take it away from him. Suck the energy out of him. So when his arm comes out, if I strike it or push it, I feed him and bring him on. But if I trap it and suck, you can see what happens. Now his body's drained. So if you looked at it this way here, if I push, that brings that arm on. If I pull, he can try and use it, but it's not going to have any power. And I've got control of this part of his body. So even if he tries to hit with that, when I pull with this one, it takes the power away from him. So I'm spiraling him this way. But also for the actual trap itself, this movement means that I take the arm, and again we'll come back to here, I take the arm here. It's pressed against my forearm. Even if he goes to withdraw his arm, even without grabbing, because his arm's like that and then the hand comes out, I'll catch the hand. So trapping can actually still be quite easy and quite soft. You haven't got to try a grip, you haven't got to try to grab, you actually trap it against this part of the arm here. This is something a lot of people never seem to get. They do this instead of this. Now his arm's coming in a straight line and it's trapped against this part of my forearm here. Okay, so now when we want to trap and we sink into our feet at the same time. So now when his arm comes out, it's trapped. Now that breaks his posture. Okay, so we've got the idea. We're using the idea of the wedge. We're using the idea of spirals. We're using the idea of our mindset. We're using the idea of breathing. We're using the idea of postural alignment. Right? So things like internal system, so on, we'll come on to later, and there are some ideas in there from power sourcing as well. So you can see, there are ideas, they're principles, they're contained within everything you do. Whatever martial art you do, you must have these 8 ideas, principles in place. They've got to be in there. So I normally say to people, look at your martial art, they're all in there somewhere. But then start to utilise them and put them into everything you do. Be free of technique. Techniques are just an expression of the principles. There are no techniques when you fight. You just got to win. You just hunt. When the lion's going after his dinner, it's not thinking whether it's going to do Jodan Uke or Tobi Komizuki or whatever. It's just there. He's got his mind on his prey. He wants his dinner. And you've got to think in exactly the same way and have these ideas sort of imbued right the way through your body, in every cell in your body. So it's not conscious thought, it's a part of what and who you are. So we've done the wedge, we've done the spiraling, we've done trapping. Now we can get on to do some moves. Thank you.